Hello and welcome to Culture Shark, a live stream about all things pop culture. I'm Final Monkey,
And I'm Caleb.
and today we are talking about Thunderbolts, Justice Like Lightning, very, very frightening me. No Galileo? Okay, I was waiting for the Galileo, but that's all right.
No,
Um,
I'm sorry. I was letting you finish. I'm sorry.
okay. Uh, today, this is a comic book from the 90s, and it's kind of a sequel to something we read a couple weeks ago, Avengers Under Siege. And I don't want to give away too much spoilers other than there is a Thunderbolts movie coming out in a couple of weeks, and it kind of has nothing to do with this other than the name and some of the themes, I
Yeah.
would say. But
I
other
I
than that, it's name only.
yeah. I could definitely see. This is one of those things where, like, if you squint, you can see what they're doing. Um, I don't like it because I'll go ahead and just show my cards. I loved this. I think this like in this experiment, I think I thought Under Siege was the best thing that we read. Now I think it's this. This is the best thing that we've read in this experiment.
I
Um,
will say this: Marvel in the '90s gets a lot of crap thrown at it. This was late '90s, and this is great.
yeah, yeah.
And I don't think
Um,
enough people talk about it 'cause I think later iterations of the Thunderbolts have been kind of so watered down. I think that's kind of what the movie's based on is more
yeah.
later versions, but this original story is so good.
So
So let's
this,
get into it. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
yeah, yeah. Um, and we will get into this. There is it is one of those, like, if you squint real hard, you can kind of see the similarities between what we're getting with the movie and this, but there is one major difference, and that major difference is the reason I liked this so much. So if they're not doing the thing that I liked so much about this book, then I don't know about this this movie.
Yeah. So we're gonna do non-spoilers, which is really hard to do with this comic book.
Yes.
So I'm
Um,
gonna say non-spoilers. If you know nothing about Thunderbolts, you've only seen trailers for the movie. This is about a group of oh, how do I want to word this? Goofballs, superheroes, underdog superheroes that take the place of the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, when they disappear, and this group kind of takes their place. And then that group comes back, and then wacky hijinks ensue.
does it matter why they're gone? Because I actually ended up having to look it up as to why the Fantastic Four and the Avengers are gone.
Yeah, so Onslaught happened where we're gonna get on a little tangent here. Basically, Xavier and Magneto's psychic energy combined into this creature called Onslaught, and the only way to defeat it was the Avengers. I'm trying to remember. They like broke apart Onslaught, and he was unstable, and so they had to dive into the portal to make him more unstable, but it would only work on non-mutants, so the X-Men had to stay behind, and the Avengers and the Fantastic Four all dove through the portals. Although Scarlet Witch got through because of her hex powers, if I recall. I mean, that's been, God, 30 years ago almost since I read that. So it was
Yeah,
a long time
and
ago.
then they ended up in the Capcom universe where they had to fight Onslaught again to finish him off. Honestly, what you could do is you could read, from what I'm hearing, you could read Onslaught and then play Marvel vs. Capcom, because Onslaught's the final boss of the first Marvel vs. Capcom, and then it goes straight into this.
So in reality, in the real world, what was going on is the sales on Fantastic Four and Avengers titles were terrible. These were not popular characters. Everything was X-Men or Spider-Man at the time. So a group of very popular writers and artists left Marvel and formed their own company called Image. And they were brought back to do a mini series of what they would do with Fantastic Four and Avengers and Captain America, and I think it was Iron Man was the fourth title. So they got to play around with those characters in their own universe. So that took up a year of real time. So in the real Marvel universe at that time, they were just gone. And so this book kind of deals with them being gone for a year and how do you fill that vacuum.
Yeah. Um, and so yeah, I mean non spoilers. This is my bag.
Yeah, I highly recommend this. If you know nothing about Thunderbolts other than you've seen the movie trailers, there is a epic collection of Thunderbolts Volume 1. Go pick it up or go read it on Marvel Unlimited. It is well worth your time, and it's more fun if you don't know some of the surprises that happen.
Yeah, definitely. And so I want to, and I, at the risk of spoiling, okay,
Uh-huh.
I almost want to say read Under Siege before this.
Yeah, there's a relation
Yeah,
of
I
the
I'm re-
Avengers Mansion getting destroyed in this book.
I am really glad that we read Under Siege right
Yeah, me
before
too.
this.
Me too.
It I and like I was wondering if like you had planned it that way or if it just kind of worked out.
It kind of just worked out after I looked at the schedule. I was like, "Oh, this is perfect."
Yeah.
So, all right, we're gonna get into spoilers now. This is your last spoiler warning. Um, three, two, one. The Thunderbolts are the masters of evil. Just rip that band-aid off.
Yeah, let's get it out of the way.
Yeah, so the Thunderbolts, during Avengers Under Siege, they pretty much decimated the Avengers and destroyed the mansion and beat Jarvis nearly to death. And so now this is about a decade later in real time, you know,
Yeah.
and
Which is funny because a decade later in real time is like 20 issues. So
yeah,
something like that. Well, not 20
no,
issues,
no,
but
no, it'd be like about 100 issues. But in comic book time, this is like a month later or 2 months later. It's
yeah.
So we read Thunderbolts 1 through 12, but I threw in a bonus issue, Thunderbolts Annual 97. And I also read Thunderbolts -1, but I didn't require Caleb to read that. Um, so this first panel here is the gathering of the team and Baron Zemo realizing that the heroes are gone, that onslaught has happened, and his life has no purpose now because his goal was to kill Captain America because he blames Captain America for the death of his father. And he wants to destroy the Avengers. And now, what are you going to do?
Here's one thing that I want to say real quick.
uh,
I always kind of like knew this, but now that we've read this and Under Siege, I'm like, oh, they have not used Zemo at all for what he should be.
yes, this is what I've
Um,
been saying.
like, like, uh, like, if we're here's the thing, sure, Thanos is the big bad, whatever. It seems like Zemo is like the main Avengers bad guy.
He reminds me a lot of Skeletor for whatever reason, just the way he acts, the way he overreacts, the way he hates goodness. It's just it's very similar.
I was actually gonna say he kind of reminds me, and this is ironic because eventually we would get Deadpool. But he reminds me of Deathstroke as like the equivalent to the Teen Titans. Like how Deathstroke's not necessarily a Robin villain or a Cyborg villain. Deathstroke is a Teen Titans villain. That's how I'm viewing Zemo, honestly.
So you have seen my frustration with them announcing a Thunderbolts movie because I had not previously read all of this. I'd read like the latter half of this. So you can see how frustrated I'm like, there's a good story in the comic books. Make that your movie. And just getting more and more frustrated as I see what their plans were for the
Yep.
Thunderbolts
Now
movie.
I will say I don't exactly know how you do it. The like here's the you could do this. You'd have to like you'd have to just go ahead and rip the band-aid off as far as
Yeah,
the twist goes.
I think it has
Um,
to be in the trailer saying, "Da,
yeah,
da, da, here's your new heroes," and it's like they have on the teaser you can say they have a secret, and then and then in the story trailer you just yeah, it's the
yeah,
Masters of Evil.
yeah. So you would definitely have to do that. Um, but and once again, I can kind of see it that like this is like for all intents and purposes, the Avengers are gone. um,
Hmm.
and the Fantastic Four don't exactly exist. So this is a replacement, but this is not an at least as far as we can tell. This the movie is not necessarily a nefarious replacement. Like it's government sanctioned. Uh, these Thunderbolts are not government sanctioned.
You know what would have been fun? I'm just thinking about this just now. If you had set a Thunderbolts movie after the Thanos snap, where there's no
Oh,
heroes missing, and all of a sudden they pop up.
oh, that would be well. Here's the thing. I've always said that one of the biggest missed opportunities is how we don't have more um, uh, Disney Plus projects
Mm.
in that 5 year period because I think that the 5 year period is prime for like your 6 episode TV shows.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's so much. I really wish that the Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame had been a trilogy. I would have loved a movie set in that 5 year gap of just really showing how dismal it is, and that could have been your Thunderbolts movie.
And I definitely think that I definitely think that some of the best stuff from Endgame is the first half.
Hmm. Sure, sure.
Um,
So let's
but-
get to this. We see Baron Zemo is gathering. If you read the annual, it shows him gathering the Masters of Evil
which I would recommend you. When would you read the annual? Because I read I
after
re-
Jolt joins.
okay.
I think anytime after Jolt joins, it's okay to read it.
Okay, because I think I ended up, I just read 1 through 12 and then I read the annual.
Uh huh.
And I'm like, there might be a better place to put the annual than after issue 12. Um, but yeah, that makes sense.
There's
So
also an issue of Marvel Team Up they reference quite a bit. We did not read that, but that may be worth reading if you can figure out where it. I think it's like issue 7 or something.
yeah.
They talk about it quite a bit. So, all right. So let's get to the story. The heroes are gone, and I think Atlas says some throwaway line like "Who's going to take their place?" or something, and it gives Zemo the idea that they could take their place. So if you flip to the next page, the world is mourning the loss of the heroes, and then you have the Thunderbolts, and I love their costumes. They're so cool and so colorful, and the movie posters are so drab, and it drives me crazy.
So you know what is hilarious? Um, I've seen Citizen V before. There are plenty of Citizen V Marvel Legends figures,
Hmm.
and I knew he was a part of the Thunderbolts. I didn't realize that that was Zemo until this book.
That's great. That's awesome.
Um, but yeah, I mean, like, and you know what's funny is, I mean, Zemo could definitely sue Norman Osborn for copyright infringement because this is just Iron Patriot.
Hmm. Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, I mean that really that Dark Avengers really is. I think he even has a side Thunderbolts team if I recall uh, during Civil War. Yeah. So our team here is Songbird, Mach 1, Meteorite, Techno, and Atlas.
Led by Citizen V.
Citizen V. And the cool thing about Citizen V is that is an actual character from the 1930s that appeared in the comic books.
Yep.
So this is not like the Sentry that they made up and said, "Oh yeah, he's been around forever." No, this is an actual character from the 30s that Zemo is stealing the identity of. And if you read -1, Helmet Zero, or no, he's Helmet. Heinrich Zemo, the original, kills Citizen V during World War II.
You know, I think it would have been fun to put Bucky in the suit. Like
Sure.
if you here's the thing. I think they could have pulled, like, if you didn't want to do Zemo and you wanted to do this government sanction thing, that's cool, man. I think you could have put Bucky in the suit. I think that you could have put Yelena in the Songbird suit. Uh, Red Guardian's your Atlas, definitely.
Hmm.
Um, I think you could have, because I think that's the biggest problem with the Thunderbolts. Every time I see a trailer, I'm like, this kind of looks interesting, but man, is there no color in this movie?
No, and I wonder if they were considering Lawrence Fishburne for the Thunderbolts of his Goliath character.
I could see that. I don't. Now that you mention it, I don't know why they didn't. I'm
Yeah,
I'm still confused as to why Emil Blonsky's not on the team.
yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of weird choices when it comes to Thunderbolts.
Honestly, for me, the weirdest choice is having both U.S. Agent and Red Guardian at the same time. That's the weirdest choice.
Yeah.
Ghost is a weird choice because I don't think that character really stuck around with people. Taskmaster is obvious because that's your um like so they're not doing Thunderbolts, they're not doing Dark Avengers, they're doing Suicide Squad. And
Hmm.
so and the thing is they're not doing the Suicide Squad right, because what James Gunn did was he created a bigger team
Yeah, to
that
whittle
was
down.
yeah, and he killed that entire big team, and then we had our main squad off to the side that was the B squad, and they were actually the A squad. But the original, like the 2016 one, they just had Slipknot, and they killed Slipknot immediately to showcase, oh man, anyone can die, and then nobody else dies. Um, so that's what's gonna happen to Taskmaster.
Yeah, yeah. So this is 12 issues, actually 13 issues. Most of the panels I grabbed are from the later issues, but I did include some of these earlier ones, just showing how the public just loves the Thunderbolts. The public is hungry for heroes now that the Fantastic Four and not the X-Men, the Avengers are gone. You do see a lot of the new Warriors and Heroes for Hire and Spider-Man and Daredevil in this.
What was going on post Onslaught? Like what would have been going on in the X-Men during this time?
X-Men post Onslaught. 'Cause I'm trying to remember because Age of Apocalypse goes into Onslaught, and then Xavier gets taken away. Was this the Joe Kelly? Or is this when Operation Zero Tolerance started? This is Operation Zero Tolerance.
Oh, okay. So okay, yeah, that makes sense then. Because like,
Yeah.
oh, we need heroes to defeat those nasty mutants.
Yes. Yeah. And that's why they made a power grab to get more Sentinels and whatnot because there's no heroes. Yep. 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 Operation Zero Tolerance.
That makes a lot of sense. Which, oh, that's so interesting because they just did Zero Tolerance in '97, and they
Yeah.
there's oh my god.
We're so frustrated with the MCU the decisions made. I'm telling
And
you.
then and then the most recent Fantastic Four trailer has proven me right.
There are a lot of people that like the Fantastic Four trailer. I had issues, but maybe that's a discussion for another day.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, at this point, I don't want to discuss Fantastic Four because we're so close to it. I'm just like, oh, we'll just wait for it to come out at this
yeah.
point.
So yeah, you see that they are beloved. and there's a lot of them just fighting different teams, and they start to like being heroes. Well, some of them do, and I was thinking that you could kind of. The great thing about this book is you can kind of rank them by their evilness. Like none of these characters are the same. Like Zemo's the most evil, and then I think it's either Moonstone or Techno, depending on how you're looking at it. I would
I
say
would say
Moonstone.
techno.
Well, I was gonna say Moonstone,
Oh, okay.
and
Well,
then Techno, and then Atlas just follows orders, and then Mach 1, and then Songbird, and then Jolt would be at the bottom.
let me ask this, because there's more after what we read, right?
Oh yeah, this goes on for 80 issues.
Who who's the leader?
After this,
Yeah.
Hawkeye.
Okay.
So he kind of is the Bucky role in the
Okay.
comics. Later on, Hawkeye will start teaching the remaining Thunderbolts, and we'll get to this, how to be heroes. The other thing that's cool about this book is most of these characters have been around since the 60s. I think the newest ones are probably Songbird and Moonstone or Meteorite. Um, they're from the 70s, but this is the most like these are just characters that are always just kind of like background characters. Who cares? And then this book really fleshes out their characters,
I
gives them
mean,
all personalities, and makes you invest in them.
think about this. Like, you're in the 70s. My name's John Ostrander. I got this book starring this character you've never heard of, Deadshot and Bronze Tiger and Captain Boomerang.
Yeah,
Like, that's I am. Here's the thing. Whenever it just comes to just like Z level characters in normal books, I'm like the rest of the world and I don't care. But if you make a book where the point is that they're Z level characters, you immediately have my interest.
yeah. The other cool thing this book does, when I was going and grabbing panels, um, you'll see stuff like in issue 1, issue 2 that's reflected like issue 11, issue 12.
Yeah.
Like the same images start popping up, only different.
I
Most
I was I had to look back and forth because I'm like, didn't he already send this?
Yeah. Uh, this was written by Kurt Busiek, who did Astro City, which we love, and we have not had a chance to talk about yet.
I haven't read it yet.
You haven't read Kurt or Astro City yet?
Not the whole thing. I
Okay.
started.
Okay.
Yeah, I started it, and then whenever we had to postpone it, that's whenever I'm like, okay, I want this to be fresh in my mind.
Okay. Okay. I need to get my copy back from Daniel, and then we'll plan for that sometime during the summer.
Yeah.
And
Um, how does this compare? Is this kind of like Kurt Busiek kind of like has ideas here that he would eventually flesh out in Astro
no,
City?
Astro City is more of a celebration of superheroes, a lot of DC comic references or the archetypes,
Oh,
Spider-Man, that sort of thing.
Anti-Watchmen.
Yes, yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. He plays with a lot of the superhero tropes, kind of turns them on their heads and stuff. There's like a team that's like the Fantastic Four. There's a guy that's like Spider-Man, and etc. So he's just, telling some really fun stories over there. Um,
Speaking of Fantastic Four types, I was just watching a little known cartoon the other day, and I've decided because we parody Fantastic Four a lot, right? Like just in general as a society.
mhm.
Um, and I was like, oh man, the Incredibles, yeah, that's the perfect Fantastic Four parody, sure. Um, I now disagree with myself because I was watching Batman Beyond.
Yes.
And the terrific trio are amazing.
Yeah, they're supposed to be the Fantastic Four. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a clear,
Yeah,
clearly supposed to be the Fantastic Four.
and I'm like, oh, that's such a cool like imagine if Doctor Doom was their manager.
Yeah, yeah. This was drawn by one of my favorite artists, Mark Bagley, who
Oh yeah,
did Amazing Spider-Man, New
Ultimate
Warriors,
Ultimate Spider-Man
Ultimate
too.
Ultimate Spider-Man, and yeah, this just reminded me. Oh yeah, I love this art. He's so good.
You know what it is? It's kind of like For me, like whenever I think of like classic, and then by classic, quotes, X-Men, my mind goes to Jim Lee. It's like if I'm thinking like, like your normal, not normal, but like, just your basic Marvel heroes, I'm thinking Bagley art.
Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man when Bagley was the artist was like one of my first comics. So to me, he will always be the Spider-Man artist. Um, so let's get to the next panel. So the heroes are beloved, and then we get the revelation on like the last page that, oh no, these are the masters of evil.
Which made me realize that Captain America Hail Hydra also ripped this off.
Sure. Here's the thing about Thunderbolts. I don't think you knew this. This is not their first appearance. Their first appearance was like the month before in Incredible Hulk, and
Oh,
they kept it a secret. It's just, oh, here's these heroes fighting the Hulk here or helping the Hulk or whatever.
that's
Uh,
kind of dope.
yeah, yeah, they kept it. I remember when this came out. I distinctly remember it being like, oh my gosh, everybody freaking out, like Wizard magazine, everybody freaking out over this because nobody saw this coming.
Honestly, do you know what's cool? I bet you we're far enough away from this. You could do this again.
Oh, sure. Yeah, if like I said, the dirty intro, if you've just seen the trailer, then you have no idea what the comic book is. Just
Yeah.
hand it to somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you wouldn't want to call it Thunder. Like it would be a complete rebranding, but you could do this again. Like
Oh, yeah.
DC could do this with like the Legion of Doom, and
Oh, I see
like
what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah,
You
this is we're far enough away from this that I don't think anybody would expect them to do this again.
sure. So part of the story is they are gaining the public's trust, and you don't really know what Zemo's scheme is for a while, other than he wants complete access to everything.
I will say one thing. I'm still kind of unclear because it's because like a wrench is thrown in, and so then he just kind of says screw it and
Yeah.
throws a wrench himself. So like I get why he ruins his own plan. Like I understand that. I'm still trying to figure out what the original plan was. Like
I think it's always been world domination. I don't know, how far he was willing to take the Thunderbolts scheme to get to that point.
yeah, which I mean that's the one thing that like I'll give the new Thunderbolts movie is like, okay, so the Thunderbolts are whenever the Avengers are not available and they're government sanctioned, and I get that. I don't know what Elaine's doing, but whatever.
Yeah. So they eventually start earning their trust, and they give them Four Freedom Plaza, which was the Fantasy Four's base, and they convert it into the Thunderbolts base. And all while this is going on, you're seeing like little glimpses of a side story about a character that will come to know as Jolt later on. So if you flip the page, this is where we finally meet Jolt, excuse me, and she's fun because she doesn't know their secret.
Yeah.
And so that makes it, they have to be on their toes constantly with what they say. It adds a lot of fun to this because this could have just been the villains for 12 issues doing stuff. And adding her to the book, I think, was a really smart move because it adds a lot of drama to the book. And I commend them for it. It was a smart move.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I I also think that like what eventually ends up happening partially happens because of Jolt, you know?
Hmm.
Because I'll go ahead and say what my favorite part about this is. I'm a big fan of like the redemption arc and all that. And so the thing that really sells this for me is the fact that barring Zemo and Techno, um, they like being heroes. They there's originally like a nefarious plot, but then it turns out that they like doing it. They like people liking them, They like people believing in them, and I don't think that they would go against Zemo after he betrays them if Jolt wasn't there too. Because I
Oh, I
think,
I agree. Yes.
yeah, I think it's not just like having the public believing in you, but like you got to have somebody on your team that really believes in you.
And this is a lot of what we've seen with Deadpool. When he sees that people believe in him, he
Yeah,
likes that feeling. I will correct you. I think that Moonstone, uh, her character is interesting. She likes to just manipulate, and whichever way the wind's blowing is the way she's going to go.
true.
So I don't think she's. I wouldn't put her in the hero camp like I would
Yeah,
the others.
I mean, unfortunately, what issue does the switch happen? Isn't it like issue 7 or something, or is it later than that?
Which issue? Where they find out that they're the
Yeah, where
masters?
well,
It's
where
issue 10. That's where
oh,
the
so it is later. So yeah, I mean that's the big thing because what ends up like just not to get ahead of ourselves, but just to explain my point, um, the heroes come back, and so then Zemo's like, oh well, we change the plans. We are the masters of evil. And after that, Zemo expects loyalty from them because now everyone's going to hate them.
well.
And so with that happening in issue 10, I guess we don't get a whole lot of time with Moonstone. So I guess I don't exactly know what her personal feelings are on that.
So if you didn't read -1, right?
Right.
So -1 just kind of shows them all as they were villains. You see Screaming Mimi, she loses her lover, Anger the Screamer, which is an old Daredevil villain. He gets shot by the cops and dies in her arms, so she hates
Yeah.
the idea of being alone. Moonstone is just a psychiatrist, and her one of her clients believes her husband is having an affair. So what Moonstone keeps doing is calling and leaving messages at the house saying, "Oh, hey, honey, are we on for tonight?" and just hanging up. And so she's doing that so she can keep the client because she doesn't want to fix her problems. She was manipulating her to keep thinking her husband's having an affair, even though he's not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
So
interesting.
so yeah, she is a I'm gonna take advantage of whatever's going on at any time situation. So even later on, I think Songbird is still a hero in like modern comics. I'm not sure about Mach 1 Beetle, but she has definitely been like an Avenger and stuff. Songbird has.
I think eventually Beetle gets to be a hero again because like wasn't he a part of um oh what was that I love that book but I can't think of what the book was called but it's with Boomerang
Is it
uh
Superior Foes?
yeah
Or
Superior wasn't he in Superior Foes?
he may have been. I'm not sure. I know that Moonstone though is always a villain. She
Okay.
never. She's always like manipulating whatever. And she's
Well,
later part of the Dark Avenger. She's the one that poses as Captain Marvel. So
what about Atlas?
I'm trying to remember. Here's the thing. Zemo and Techno eventually come back to the team later on.
Really? Like when Hawkeye's the leader?
They end up on Counter Earth at some point, which is the planet from Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It's like Earth.
Yeah, with the animals.
Yeah, yeah. They end up over there for a time, and I know that like Bucky from Heroes Reborn ends up over there too. The girl Bucky and all this. Um, but I feel like something happens where Zemo becomes a good guy. Like something happens to his personality, but then it's like, is he faking? Is this, there's a lot of fun Thunderbolt stories, and I'll probably continue reading it even off the show because I can't remember everything that happens. I've read some of it I haven't read. Um, so getting back to this real quick though, you mentioned they like being heroes. Zemo hates
Yes,
it.
yes.
And he's monitoring everybody constantly, and it's driving him nuts. And I think that's part of the reason he just says, "Oh, forget it," in issue 10 because he's looking for an excuse to end the charade because he's sick of it.
Yeah.
So we go.
I mean that's the thing. Like they could have kept going.
Oh yeah, for I mean there are slip ups where they use the wrong names every once in a while, or someone notices, hey, that's weird. But uh, Jolt joins the team very publicly. The public loves her, so they're kind of forced, and Moonstone's taking advantage of it. Anytime she can drive a wedge between Zemo and the others, she will do it, and that's the same thing she did during Under Siege. And so Zemo doesn't like how close Jolt is with everybody, so he's like, "Oh yeah, let's accidentally bump her off. Let's just kill her in a mission."
Yeah.
And I think that's so much fun. It's like he's like, "Oh yeah, she can stay. We're just gonna quietly kill her off," And he never gets a chance to pull off that plot, but I think it's fun that that's the way he's thinking about Jolt. So let's move on to the next page. Like I said, I skipped a lot of their battles with like the wrecking crew and stuff. Um,
I'm not gonna say it's boring, but it is
no,
just inconsequential.
it's well, it's necessary to show them enjoying being heroes and the public
Yeah.
loving them and just building all this up. Um, this is the first moment here where Zemo snaps in front of Jolt, where she starts to realize, wait a second, something's not right here. And basically, he's kind of holding the city blackmail. He's like, unless you give me clearance, we're not going to go save the day to the security and the files, the Avenger files that he wants. So Moonstone, kind of, you can see even see that panel there, the bottom left panel. You see how Moonstone's in the shadows.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, she's gonna take advantage of this completely.
Yeah.
It's so great. So Jolt convinces all the heroes, or convinces the Thunderbolts that they should be heroes and go fight the. I think they're called the Elements of Doom that they're fighting. And during the fight, they all get captured. And were you shocked when Techno got his neck snapped?
Kind of. So I still kind of came in with a uh, mentality. So like someone dying didn't shock me, but at the same time I got lulled into I started drinking the Kool-Aid of the Thunderbolts, and so that's when it shocked me.
Yeah. This happens a lot with Techno and Zemo, where they'll get killed off and come back throughout the Thunderbolts. This happens all the time to them. So you get kind of used to them getting killed off.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's like, you know, here's the thing about uh, death and comic books. When it's the villain and they come back, I don't care. That's fine. When it's Joker or Doctor Doom or whatever, I expect them to come back. When it's the hero and you do the death of Superman and then they come back and you start making it into events, that's when I start getting frustrated. But I'm more forgiving when it's the villains and they die and come back. It's expected, you know.
Well, and sometimes it's interesting, like because like you can do something like Mysterio is in hell, and then he made a deal with Mephisto to come back, and then
Right. Or
he
when
start
Lex Luthor, had the clone of himself and all that.
yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely cool stuff you can do with all that. Um, so we see Techno get his neck snapped, and then he comes back the next issue. He's downloaded his consciousness into a robot body. So you can go ahead and flip the page. So I just wanted to show Techno here, and then show you how the heroes are starting to welcome the Thunderbolts also. I'll say all the heroes except for Black Widow. Black Widow is always suspicious of the Thunderbolts. And I think it would have been cool if Black Widow had been part of Under Siege, but I don't think she was in that story.
No,
Because
she
if
wasn't.
she had been, I think that would have been cool. But Black Widow herself has formerly been a villain, so she could kind of sense that, hey, something's up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, go
Which
ahead.
I mean, Black Widow was a part of. I don't remember what they were called, but essentially, I would call them Ultimate Thunderbolts. Remember that from Ultimates 2?
Oh, you're talking about from Ultimates 2, yes, where she was a villain. I can't remember if they had. I'm sure they had a name. I can't remember
Uh,
what they were
that's
called off the top of
that.
my head.
That is
This
gonna
was
annoy me.
Loki's team. Yeah. Uh,
Uh, yeah,
so
you go ahead.
go ahead and
Uh,
flip to the next page because since we're talking about Black Widow. Um, I just have to say again, man, Mark Bagley, he can
yeah,
draw. And this is cool. It just happened to turn out this way when I grabbed the panels. At the beginning, she's confronting them, and at the end of the book, she's walking away from them, almost the same pose.
yeah.
Again, really cool artwork. But she confronts Abe and Melissa, kind of saying, "Hey, I know something's up. I don't know what is up, but there is a path forward for you. You can turn on Citizen V. Uh, villains have become heroes before." And she tells them the story of Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, and Hawkeye, and how how the public hated them, but eventually came around to love them.
Oh, that would have. Now I thought about that, would have been so cool to have Lawrence Fishburne in Thunderbolts because Hawkeye was Goliath.
Yeah, yeah,
It would have
yeah,
made
yeah.
sense. Uh,
Yeah.
by
So
the way, in Ultimates, they're the Liberators.
gotcha. Okay. So when I started reading Thunderbolts, by the way back when, it was the issue before this is where I started reading. So I had never read the first half before.
So
Uh,
did you come in? You already knew.
yeah. Oh yeah. It was back then. That secret was hard to. If you read Wizard magazine, they would not shut up about the Thunderbolts being the masters of evil. So
Did anyone call it?
I'm sure someone did in the Hulk comic book, but I don't know. I wasn't reading Hulk at the time, so but I'm sure some of the readers, caught would have caught on. Of course, back then I probably didn't even know who the Masters of Evil were. so,
Yeah,
um, so around this time, the heroes do return, and so they are having a press conference. The Thunderbolts again, they look so cool, so heroic. And then the press conference goes to hell, and Shield attacks and says it's the Masters of Evil, and it just leaves Jolt just kind of like paralyzed, like what? Like she does not see this coming at all. And they escape.
yeah. And
It,
I just have to appreciate like this panel of Zemo
yeah,
and holding the Citizen V costume. Like, was he wearing two layers?
I don't know. Well, in issue one, I yeah, I don't know because I'm thinking when he switches costumes in issues one, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if he's just wearing two.
Like, like just to like up the absurdity? Do you think that like he's always wearing two layers so that way at any moment he can make the reveal if he wants to?
Yeah, I don't know. Like Techno uses or Fixer, he uses holograms, but yeah, Zemo's just wearing outfits. It's just yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I love this panel. Him saying it was I'm the one who told the press, and you see again Moonstones and Shadows again. This ticks her off because she's like, we could have kept the scheme going forever. You screwed it up, Zemo. And yeah, so go ahead and flip the page again. Um, and this is where Zemo's like, what are you gonna do about it? You could go turn yourself in and go to jail, or you can come with me and rule the
Yeah,
world.
and that's the thing to keep in mind is Zemo expected loyalty after what he did.
Yeah, yeah, he expects loyalty. That's a big part of the -1 issue is when his father is teaching him about how to keep control of people and loyalty. And yeah. We see that they blow up For Freedom's Plaza, which is a lot of fun, and they escape into space, and they don't know that Jolt is tagging along. Here we see that their plan is starting to break out. That they have got this device called a biomodem, and they are using it to brainwash or hypnotize, whatever you want to say, soldiers into following Zemo, and they're starting to overthrow the world country by country.
You know what's something I just realized? So they get launched. They get launched into space, and their new young recruit tags along without them knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of reminds me of Infinity War with Spider-Man.
Yeah, and now that I'm looking at this panel, Zemo also reminds me a lot of Cobra Commander, because this is a very much a G.I. Joe scheme that he's pulling off here.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So
No, legit. Like the whole Thunderbolts thing, that's totally Zartan.
Oh yeah. I could I could definitely see this. So we see that they start fighting because Jolt starts convincing them to rebel, and then Zemo's like, I don't want rebellion. And then we see that Atlas joins Zemo's side because Zemo has saved Atlas in the past, and he's a loyal soldier, even though he's questioning all this.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Techno, Atlas, and Zemo versus everybody else. And Techno has like complete control of the ship. He can turn into anything. He's ultra powerful now. So we have this crazy fight. So if you want to flip the panel, again, this panel of Moonstone flying, almost getting vaporized, and she's still just flying through the blast, and she's so furious.
Help me out with this. What are Moonstone's powers? I never really got that.
I think she gets her powers from like a Kree meteorite or something like that. She's very similar to Captain Marvel.
Okay.
But she has like flight, energy blast, almost invulnerable, that sort of thing. Zemo has no powers, which is it's also fun because he's, his personality demands respect, and he can have all these extremely powerful villains following him, even though he has no powers. So it's a lot of fun.
It reminds me of a line. It's kind of an inverse, actually, but my favorite line from Daredevil Born Again, written by Frank Miller. So in Born Again, Matt Murdock is definitely like the leader of the Captain America fan club. And so he's talking about Captain America and how he's he's the greatest hero that ever lived, and he's the leader of the Avengers. And he has this one line that has always stuck out to me. He's like, he has the charisma to command gods, and he does. Like, and so in a way you could kind of see Zemo as kind of like the inverse of that, where, Zemo doesn't have powers, but, he has the charisma to command gods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Here we see the Avengers and Fantastic Four arrive. You can see the looks on everybody's faces. Some are thrilled. Some are like, "Wait, what's going to happen now? We're bad guys." And if we flip the panel, we see that, oh wait, these guys are all under Zemo's control. So if you jump to the next page here, yeah, you can see on the left-hand side how Techno and Zemo are smiling because they know that they've got him now.
And we're in the end game now, says Doctor Strange.
Yes. This also reminds me of X-Men issue 3, Claremont's final issue on his original run, where it's X-Men versus X-Men, and the idea of you don't know who to root for because the heroes are brainwashed. Very similar. yeah, great. Some great panels here. So I just want to. I have a picture here from -1 where you see Zemo's father teaching him that you have to put down rebellions, and then you see this him doing the same thing with Jolt here. So the panels are mirroring each other here, of him pointing the gun at Bolt and or Bolt Jolt, and Zemo's father. He had some scheme going. The natives were attacking, so he takes out all the rebels. In the top panel up there, you can see him choking the original Citizen V when he's killing him. So
Kind of looks like Bucky.
yeah, he does look like Bucky. So, um, but yeah, here you see Atlas rebels. He can't stand to see Jolt killed, and so the Thunderbolts make a run for it, and they escape. And then they see that Techno has taken over everything. I don't know if you pay attention to how I name these files. Like the file here where Atlas is attacking, I named it Atlas Shrugged, and so
No, I did. I actually didn't notice that. No.
so anyhow, uh, they escape to a space station, and they are confronted by Iron Man. So if you want to flip, and at first I think Iron Man is still possessed, but Iron Man had things in his armor that stopped the possession from happening, and so now Iron Man has to trust his former opponents.
Can I say one thing? I just have to. As much as I love Bagley's art,
Yeah.
the thing that he does with the mask here, I don't like it.
I think this is just the art style of what Iron Man looked like at the time, though. Like they were
Yeah,
coming off of that Heroes Reborn look, and they weren't quite sure what to do with the Iron Man armor, and yeah, it's a mess.
I don't like. It's. Is he Batman? Does he have? Are those ears? Like, what is this?
Yeah, I think they're trying to ape the Jim Lee look, and they're not sure what to do with
Wolverine.
it. Yeah, Wolverine was extremely popular at this time.
Well, and the thing is, it's not just that, but Citizen V had like Zemo's Citizen V had the um
The
as
pointed ears, or whatever you want to call them.
you know what, as Deadpool would say, the handlebars.
Yeah. But it's a V. It's cool because the name is
Yeah,
V.
yeah,
So
no,
yeah.
Citizen V. No, that's the thing. I think that's what makes it even more noticeable, is because Citizen V does it and pulls it off, and
Uh-huh.
then we get Iron Man, and it's like, oh, well, that's just Citizen V's mask, but it looks bad.
Yeah. So I shared these panels here where Tony is working with Beetle and realizing, oh wow, this guy's actually pretty smart. And again, it's that they're feeling praise for the things they can do, and they like it. Um, but Iron Man's also like, I don't know if I can trust you. And then, so we see everybody's kind of like pondering, what do we do next? After this is over, are we going to jail? Are we going to be heroes? What, they don't know what's going to happen. So you see Beetle's reaction, you see Melissa's reaction, and if you flip the panel, you see Atlas and Joel, what they're thinking about. And then you see Meteorite. She is not pondering. She's just taking advantage of whatever's going to happen. And just the contrast between her and everybody else is a lot of fun. I really like Moonstone. She is such a fun villain. Um, all right. So they come up with a plan. Their plan is to kind of distract the Avengers. Because if they tell them right away, then Techno and Zemo are going to know what they're up to. They're going to destroy the biomodem. Here we have a fun panel. Again, this reminds me of Under Siege, where they're confronting each other, Zemo and Captain America. He has Captain America completely under his control, and he's going to have him walk out of an airlock. But then it's kind of like Zemo realizes this is no fun. I'm getting no joy out of this. I really like this sequence quite a bit.
Yeah,
So they attack, and the Avengers are kind of coming out of it, and they're starting to realize that something's not right here with these Thunderbolts, and they're trying to keep them distracted. Um, here we have this brutal fight between Moonstone and Zemo. Again, Zemo's just a human, and she beats the mess out of him. And she's so frustrated because she's like, we had the perfect scheme and you screwed it up.
Yeah, that's great.
We could have done this for years. And yeah, and so I also threw this in there where the way they get to Techno is having him realize he no longer has a human body and he can no longer feel the touch of a female, and she's kind of seducing him. Again, she's the ultimate manipulator, and it's great.
Right here, this is where he looks like Sinistar. I just need to point that out. Do you remember Sinistar?
That sounds familiar. What is that from?
Sinistar is an old Midway arcade game.
Okay.
Beware, I live. That.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like Sinistar.
And then on the right, I just wanted to point out just how badly Zemo has been beaten. He's just limping away, leaving a blood trail.
Yes.
And yeah, so Moonstone keeps messing with Techno's egotism, because the whole time he's been bragging about all the cool stuff he can do, and she's like, "You're just a lackey. No one's going to remember you. They're just going to remember Zemo." And that causes him to get completely distracted, allowing the Avengers and the FF to do what they need to do.
Which is hilarious because she's right.
Yep. So now we have a barely conscious Zemo begging Atlas to save him. So he puts him in an escape pod. He wants Atlas to come with him. Atlas refuses. Atlas sends Zemo away, and then you see Techno's face on the back of the escape pod because he has escaped also. Again, great character development with Atlas. This whole loyalty and he feels loyal to Zemo, but he also knows that Zemo's evil and what to do. And he saves Zemo's life, which now he's like, okay, did I just screw up? Did I just screw everybody when I did that? And then at the end of the book, everybody's like, what do we do with the Thunderbolts? I guess they're going to stand trial. Hold on. Don't get to this yet.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
And at the end, they disappear in a blinding light because the series isn't over. Like I said, it goes on for 80 issues. And again, spoilers, Hawkeye will eventually join the team and start training them how to be actual heroes. So that's Thunderbolts. One of the fun things they did at the end of one of the issues was they did a Hostess fruit snack comic with everybody, and I adore this. You can go ahead and flip the panel now. Back in the 70s and 80s, these were always in comic books. There was always, like, Doctor Doom's going to destroy everything. Oh, wait, he loves these Hostess fruit pies, and he goes, I guess I can't destroy the world. And so they did that with the Thunderbolts here. And just seeing Zemo's face as he eats a fruit pie is absolutely hilarious. Do you remember these ads, or are these before your time?
These are definitely before my time. If anything, like, we may have gotten stuff like this, like, in commercials on TV. Like, have you seen the new State Farm commercials with Batman instead of Bateman instead of Batman?
Yeah.
That's a return to what I remember. Stuff like that is what I remember.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm just Googling it. Let's see. Share my screen. But you can just see there's like hundreds of these, of Captain America and Spider-Man and Hulk, and they did these all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always like, oh, well, thanks to these Hostess fruit snacks. Yeah, so you can see how them doing that at the end is so funny. And like I said, the image of Zemo eating the fruit snack is just hilarious. So A lot of fun. I I think this is such a underrated run. This and Under Siege, they were both great, and I think both of these would have made great movies. So
I will once again point out that I think Under Siege did make a great movie because Civil War has more Under Siege than
yeah,
Civil
yeah,
War.
yeah, yeah. So, but that was Thunderbolts. I'm really glad we got to read this, revisit this for me, and it was all new to Caleb. And that is our plan on this show, was to introduce each other to new movies or new comic books that we had missed out on, and hopefully introduce them to you, the audience.
Mhm.
Next week, we'll be doing our review of the latest season of Daredevil. I have not even started this yet. I think Caleb has probably seen all of it or most of it.
I have the so Dad was out of town for work this week, so I still have the finale.
Okay. So I know very little other than seeing kind of people's reactions, and I know the reactions are mixed, so I don't know what my reactions will be. So
That's okay. That's interesting. So I haven't seen the reactions. I haven't really paid attention. We're the four of us are loving it. There was just one episode that wasn't great, but on the whole, we seem to be liking it. So I'll be interested to hear what you got to say.
yeah, I the thing with YouTubers is a lot of them have just gotten to the point where they just hate everything Marvel, no matter if it's good or not. And
Yeah, yeah.
so
Well,
I try to go in with an open mind, make it my own.
yeah, and that's why I hope that like if I say that like if I say that uh I think that Fantastic Four trailer looks like crap, that's not me completely hating on Marvel. Keep in mind, I liked Agatha. I think that's a big one for people. So I don't know. Like when it's me, I take things as they go. Um, Even with Star Wars, as much as I don't like the Acolyte, and as much as I don't like, a lot of some of the other stuff that Disney's put out. You tell me Ryan Gosling's going to star in a Star Wars movie with Sean Levy, you pique my interest.
So speaking of Star Wars, our next comic book show in 2 weeks will be about Star Wars Legacy 1 through
Yep.
13.
Yep.
Which I've read some of a long time ago. So it'll be fun to revisit that. And so
It
next week will be
is.
Daredevil on here, the
Yep.
TV show, and then Star Wars Legacy. And speaking about the Fantastic Four trailer real quick, I think I'm just disappointed because this is, to me, this was their Marvel's flagship title in the 60s, and they deserve so much better. And I'm just disappointed with the trailer.
It it
I'll come down
it
to it.
it looks like it's going to be kind of a remake of Rise of the Silver Surfer. Like it just looks beat for beat that.
Yeah, it feels like they were frustrated that Galactus wasn't done right in that movie. And it's kind of like when X-Men redid Dark Phoenix, like, oh, we could do that better. And then they just made it worse somehow.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what we're maybe getting into. So we'll see, though. But until next time, I've been Final Monkey.
And I'm Caleb.
We'll catch you on the flip side.
See ya.